So my name is Dr. Angelique Clay Everett, and I'm a professor here at University of Kentucky. I'm also a proud graduate of the University of Kentucky. I did my master's and my doctorate here, and I had the privilege and honor of coming back here to teach on faculty in 2007. And since then, I've had such wonderful experiences with my colleagues and with the students, and getting a chance to meet students like Ruthie. So, Ruthie, why don't you introduce yourself?
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Ruthie Sangster. I just graduated from the University of Kentucky with my degrees in vocal performance and arts administration. It's been a great time. I've had the privilege of being Dr. Clay's student and also working with Dr. Tedrin Blair Lindsay as my coach the whole time I've been there. I've had a lot of great opportunities with UK Opera Theater during my time. Including the 2 summers I did Grand Night, I've been in 9 productions over the course of my 4 years at UK, which was a lot of fun, and got to do some other opera programs abroad and arts administration internship experiences during my time at UK too. So it's been fun, and I just graduated this past May, and we're kind of in a crazy world right now, but hopefully as performance things come back, I'll get to put all my hard work to use and continue to go forth and make great art.
Ruthie, from the time that I met you when you were on my radar as a high school student, one of the things that really stuck out to me was not only how beautiful your voice was, but just your artistry level and your charisma and your obvious joy and love for singing. And that never went away. Sometimes when people go to college and they become music majors, it's very easy for that joy and love to go away. But you were talking about those productions, and all of those productions, no matter how small or how big your part was, I was always looking for you on stage because you had the ability to light up uh, the stage, and my eyes always gravitated towards you, on stage. And I think that that is
Thank you.
something that's special, that's something that can't be taught. And it was one of the biggest things that attracted me to you as a student. So tell us a little bit about how you ended up choosing UK
Thank you.
to come here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been singing and doing theater all through for as long as I can remember, starting out at church and doing things throughout school, very involved in choir and theater through middle and high school. But it was really, I guess it kind of goes back to when I started singing in the Louisville Youth Choir when I was in 7th grade. And I really enjoyed a lot of opportunities to sing and get to know people who liked to do what I did. And I guess it was right before my sophomore year. We have to re-audition every summer. And the director, Terry Foster, was like, Ruthie, like, you're pretty good at this. You should look into taking private voice lessons. And I was like, okay. So my mom and I kind of asked around, and I started studying with Elizabeth Hewling in Louisville. And right away, we got to work on my Governor's School for the Arts audition, where I auditioned for voice and musical theater, and I ended up getting in for voice that year. And it was just kind of one of those very first validating experiences as a young artist, to be told, like, hey, like, you're one of the best people in the state for pursuing singing right now. And I was like, oh, okay, like, cool. Because you have people encourage you, but when you have something like that, it's like, oh, okay, like, I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that was actually where I met you, Dr. Clay. I got to sing
Mhm.
on your master class. My voice teacher in high school, Miss Elizabeth, was like, hey, like, they have an arts administration program. Would you like be interested in doing some of the business side of the arts? So I was like, oh, hey, that sounds really interesting. And I really enjoyed studying that as well. And I feel like that's something that I also have a passion for. So yeah, here I am now as a graduate. It's been a wild ride. It's been good. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. This is something I came up with earlier because I know that you did your master's and your doctorate at UK. So I guess my question is, what were some things that you learned about UK Opera Theater as a student that you've kind of carried into your teaching? Things about the program, things about performance in general, um, things that have helped you because you've been kind of on both sides as a
Mhm.
student of the program and now as a faculty member.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Ruthie. And when I came here, it was in the mid to late 90s. That's, you probably weren't even born. I mean, which is,
98.
oh boy, that's mind-boggling to
So,
me. But yes, so it, as an undergrad, UK was not even on my radar at all. I wanted to go out of state. It was not known for its music program. It was not known for being friendly to African Americans at the time. And it just was not even a consideration. But by the time I had finished my undergraduate degree and I'd come back to Louisville and my situation had changed, and I was looking around at graduate programs and I was set on IU. I just knew that that was the school that I wanted to go to because my college that I went to had a kind of a connection with IU. All these big name singers were coming out of there at the time. But I did the Met competition in, I guess, well, how old is my daughter? She was born in 94. So I did the Met competition in 94 and I didn't do very well. But while I was there, I met Everett McCorvey and I met Cliff Jackson. And I was so impressed with the students that I heard that came from UK. And I said, well, things must be changing there because this is a high quality level. And one of the singers was Greg Ture, and he ended up going on to win the whole shebang at that year. So for me, it was a great option because it was in state. They gave me money, and I felt really comfortable with having. It would have been my first African American teacher, actually, in Dr. McCorvey. And my first male teacher, actually. So it was a first for everything. But the thing that struck me when I came here to audition was the warmth, the friendliness, and the intimacy of the program. And at the time, the program was really small. I mean, we may have had 20 to 30 voice majors or something to that. Maybe I'm underestimating that, but it didn't seem like there were, maybe there were more, maybe there were 50, but it just seemed really small and intimate. And my best memories of being here, I always say that UK was like a finishing school for me. I feel like I grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started the journey in undergrad, but here I felt like I grew into an adult, you know. The mentorship that I got from Dr. McCorvey and from Cliff Jackson and from Nan McSwain and from all of my other professors such as Dick Domek and Dr. Kate Covington and Diana Hallman, from voice all the way down to, I shouldn't say all the way down, but all the way through theory and music history. I just had phenomenal experiences with my professors. And that shaped me in such a way that I remember having this conversation with Dr. McCorvey. I said, I just don't know how to thank you for everything that you've done for me. And he said to me, well, the way that you can thank me is by giving back and doing the same thing with your students. And so every day when I get up and I teach, I think about the impact that not only he had on my life, but other teachers who invested in me. Mm-hmm. And who believed in me and encouraged me. And I want to give that back to my students. And even though our program has grown, one of the comments that we still get all the time when people come to audition is how warm the program is and how inviting it is. And I hope that we never lose that, no matter how big our reputation becomes or how big the program becomes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can definitely say that I have felt that way, especially this past year, just really feeling like the entire building of SFAC has just like gathered around me and really rallied for me and really encouraged me. And that just made me emotional, and I'm probably going to cry now because, you know, it's just been such
well, you know that I'm the biggest wuss in town and I cry for everything. So I was not expected to do that this morning, but
but you know, I mean, I definitely feel very invested in by you and, you know, by Tedrin and even by Dr. McCorvey. I mean, you know, as much as I didn't get to work with him like personally a whole lot, I mean, I still feel like, you he definitely has a lot of care and concern for me. And I'm just so thankful for, my experience too. I mean, I definitely feel like that warm, inviting feeling that, you were attracted to when you came to do your graduate work and your doctoral work. I feel like that is something that has been very consistent throughout, especially, because things have grown. I mean, how many students in the program are there now
Oh
across
yeah, at least
undergrad
100,
through DMA?
140,
Yeah.
100, yeah,
So,
a lot. Last semester was a really rough semester for everyone, but especially for the people who were graduating, and they were graduating as seniors or graduating as master's level or doctoral level. When we had our first studio class this past week and I walked in and I saw people I hadn't seen since March, I almost broke down into
yeah.
tears, because it's like seeing you on screen is one thing, but to be in the room with you all and to soak up that energy, and it just was a very gratifying feeling. It hurt me deeply that you and other people, we didn't get to have that experience. One of the students that was in our studio, Gabrielle, had a senior master's recital, and I couldn't even hug her at the end, and I don't know when I'm going to see her again. It's that
Mhm.
feeling of everything being up
Mhm.
in the air and not knowing what's going on that really makes you cherish the moments that you have with people and appreciate them
Mhm.
while they're here.
Dr. Clay, I'll ask you I mean, I know you've been a lot of more recent years has been a little bit more heavy on the teaching side, but what are some of your favorite performance memories? What are some favorite roles that you've sung?
The first one was my first role that I ever did, which was Susanna, and I had never been in an opera before. Well, that's not true. I had never had a lead role in an opera before. And so UK did Susanna, which is a Carlisle Floyd opera. It's an American opera that's set in Tennessee in the mountains, and she's a mountain gal. It was my first big role that I did. Getting a chance to see the world for free just because I sing. That is always mind boggling to me, that, you get these rich experiences just because you are a singer, and this little girl from Louisville, Kentucky that hadn't been much outside of the region, was suddenly seeing the world, and it changed the way that I saw myself and the way that I saw the world as well. I had a different pathway from a lot of people. A lot of my teachers really wanted me to go into performing. And I have to say that my heart just was never in it on a full-time basis. And my personality itself, even though people think I'm outgoing, I'm really not. I'm an introvert. And so I don't like being in the spotlight. And so one of the things that I loved about teaching was that I still got to be a part of the performance, but it was through another way. And in the sense that I got to see my students progress. And I felt like when they were singing, I was singing with them. Every time you
Mhm.
all got up to sing and you did a performance, I felt like I was a part of that performance in some sort of way. Before I took this job here, I quit and I was going to move to New York, and I was going to try to pursue, and this is in 2007, right before the Great Recession happened. Dr. McCoy was like, well, we have a job opening here. You should apply. And right when I got this job, the economy tanked.
Mm.
And I said to myself, thank God, because I didn't want to do it anyway. I was just trying to appease my daughter was like, you should do it. You should be a star. And I just
Aw.
saw myself that way. So, and I think every time, like even with this coronavirus, it just confirmed to me that I made the right decision for me.
Mhm.
As a professor, it's my job to help you all make the right decisions for you, because
Mhm.
everybody is not going to be at the Met, and
Mhm.
everybody is not going to be, some people may not even be doing music in 10 years. My job is to help you figure out what who you all want to be, and hopefully direct you into that pathway. So you talked a little bit about, let's talk about like what you're doing now.
I'm currently back home with my family for a little bit, which is different
It's an
after,
adjustment, I'm sure.
being in college for 4 years and being, living in my own space and doing my own thing. I feel like I have been able to maintain like some sense of independence. I'm currently still working towards my senior recital, which, I'm done, but this is, it's like I've worked so hard for the whole school year on this material. So I was like, I don't want that hard work to go to the wayside, kind of. And not that
Right.
it would have, because pieces as in music act as parts of training. And, I've learned a lot about my voice and myself, especially just the work that I've done this past year. I feel like my voice really bloomed. At this point now I get to actually, perform the stuff that I've worked so hard on this school year, and kind of having at least my undergraduate work come to fruition in that recital, and in, post doing my recital, being able to hopefully move forward and trust myself to try some different things and branch out a little bit, and, hopefully maybe create and find some opportunities in a world that is not the traditional artistic path anymore. So I think this time is giving people in general, and myself, some time to kind of take a step back and figure things out a little bit.
If you can learn that lesson, Ruthie, I really feel that that is the key to true happiness. Learning how to accept who you are, where you are, and what you are in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And not always grasping for what could have been, what should be, and what you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And life is always going to continue to throw you curveballs. The way that you respond to that is going to dictate whether you are emotionally healthy, are able to function in your day-to-day activities, and are able to be successful in the way that you want to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liken singing to teaching me so many lessons about life. Like with breathing, we need to breathe, but if we breathe too much, then it can cause tension. We know we need brilliance in the voice, but if it's too much brilliance, then it becomes strident. It's like
Mm-hmm.
this constant balance that we're trying to achieve with our singing and with our voice, to have a beautifully effortless produced sound, to me, that directly corresponds to the way that we live our lives. Well, for our final question of the day, then why don't we talk about, I'll ask you, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I would like to, honestly, Kelly O'Hara is like my idol. Like, I would love to have the crossover career that she's had. Like, she's sung all of these revivals on Broadway, but she also just did Così fan tutte at the Met a couple of years ago, and The Merry Widow a couple of years before that. Being able to do both would be great. But ultimately, whether I am performing or whether in one way or another I end up more on the arts admin side. Or what about you, Dr. Clay? Do you think you'll still be teaching in 10 years, or will you be?
Well, in a good place in my life. And what I mean by
Yeah.
that is that all of the goals that I set in my 20s, I've achieved. If
Mm-hmm.
that makes any sense. I had a kid. Yes. I married. Check. Yeah. I got all 3 degrees. Check. I had a good, experiences performing. Check. I'm teaching at a college, at a university, which I wanted to do. Check. I have tenure. Check.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, it's been a bit of a flounder. I'm going to tell you that it's been, I have been thinking about, what kind of legacy do I want to
Mm-hmm.
leave behind? What do I want to be said about me when I'm no longer here? And I said this to you all, I think, at the end of the school year last year, that you all are my legacy, and I hope that you all will continue to pursue your dreams and aspirations in a way that you enjoy doing.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. And it's been a pleasure getting to talk to you, Dr. Clay, about our experiences together as teacher and student, and, our past experiences and our hopes for the future. And it's been fun.
Well, Ruthie, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we never seem to have a lull in conversation. I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you chose UK and that you chose me as your voice teacher. And I am thankful for the lessons I've learned from teaching you. I want to encourage you to continue to fulfill your dreams and to get to know who Ruthie is, and to continue to learn to love who Ruthie is, and then to spread that joy and that love to other people. And so, having said that, thank you, College of Fine Arts, for giving us this opportunity to have this conversation. And we hope that you have enjoyed what we have talked about today. Signing off.